Welcome back, you guys. This is Mark with NCEngravers, and today we're going to be working on the Walther PDP model slide. Now, if you've been following our channel for quite some time, you've probably never seen a Walther video because we've never done one. Now, we have done some service work on some Walthers before, but they've never really been enough to encourage people to understand the process a little bit more. I'm hoping to do that here today. We do have some challenges on the slide, as this is a real tough slide to work on. I don't know of very many vendors that are working on this model. I want to talk about some of those challenges. I want to talk about the work that we're going to do and some of the challenges of what we're going to run into as far as processing the work also. So with that being said, let's jump into the challenges of the slide and let's move on to the work that we're going to do and see what we come up with on that. Guys, one of the reasons why this slide is so challenging and we just don't see quite the love for the PDP versus some of the other makes and models out on the market is because it has really front, deep, and rear serrations. Front and rear, they're matching and they're really just not nice. So if you were going to do something on the sides, you'd either have to cut really deep in order to remove them, or you'd have to cut all the way through them in order to do a window to just kind of, once again, remove them. So it's kind of one of those deals where they just don't play nice. You either have to work around them, or you got to work through them, or you got to remove them. I don't see any nice pattern working with that unless you were going to do just a window right in that socket and stay off the flat and stay off the flat. And I say that because typically we would do some sort of a step down and then a window, but the issue we run into is this slide is tapered. Maybe we can see it better this way. So you guys can kind of see it has a scalped edge here. We also see the same thing up front. So that's another aspect of a hurdle or a challenge that we have to take into consideration when we're doing cut work is how would we do a step down, because this is already lower, and then how do we get rid of the serrations and where do the windows go? Right, so we have all of those issues if we were talking about the sides, which is one of the reasons why in this video we're not doing any side work at all. It's just challenging. These tapered edges aren't uncommon to the industry. FN509, we've got some other stuff out there, the Beretta PX4. So there's definitely model slides out there that do have a tapered, they kind of have a flat and then they kind of make their way from the outside to the inside with a taper on those model slides. So once again, not uncommon, just not exactly the most favorable as far as when you're thinking about having work done. So that's one of the challenges that we happen to have here. So guys, today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing the Raptor cut service, and we're going to try to align those with the front side serrations that are here. So we want those Raptor cuts to go into the grooves. We want to kind of stay in the groove. So we have some challenges with that. What size cutter do we use? What angle are we cutting these at? How deep are we cutting them? And we want to make sure we can see some barrel. We want to make sure that we're not, going outside of those serrations too far. We want to keep the visual structure of the slide kind of intact, I guess is the best way to say that. In other words, I don't want to just butcher the visual concept from Walther of how it looks now. I want to build something that works around the style and without removing the style. So guys, I want to talk about a little bit of those hurdles. So I've got my pencil here. I want to explain this better. So we're going to be doing Raptor cuts. It's going to be inside of these three, and I'm going to draw on one side and I'm going to tell you some challenges on the other. The idea is that these would go something like this, okay? That's in a perfect world, this is how it would go. We'd come in and we'd cut, right? When you look at this, you have to understand that the cutter has to start from the center, okay? So it's got to, on the top of the slide, we need to be in the center of these, okay? Because that's where we want to be. If we're too far forward, we're going to cut into here. If we're too far back, we're going to cut into here. And that causes a problem because you're not only causing an issue in your so-called pocket, but you're causing an issue in the next one, and it's kind of an evolving process where little off, lot off by the time we keep going. So the idea is cutter needs to stay in the center of the serrations, but we also have to make sure you hit the right correct angle. Now I'm gonna demonstrate that a little bit better over here. So once again, we have to make sure that we're cutting at the right angle this way, because if we're not, then what ends up happening is the farther we go down the sides, because they're going to go, we would assume that they're going to go the same, right? And what ends up happening is if we go down too far and we're off, we're going to either hit here or we're going to hit over here. So it's kind of, you look at the top and you go, it's not too bad. And then you roll the side down, and you're like, yeah, I don't really see that. So the farther you go down the side of this slide, the more of an angle you're actually getting at. So if you looked at the sides, you'd be like this, because we want to stay in the center of these. And then when you look at the top, you're kind of in the middle of it is right here, but really we need to be like this, right? So middle here, but angled here. once again, challenging. It's not like anybody's giving you this information saying, hey, cut at this angle, cut this deep. If you cut any deeper, you're going to have a problem. So these are some of the hurdles that we're going to have when doing this model slide. Once again, we've got to determine what cutter works best for this setup, and then determine if we want to go with a larger cutter to open up to see more barrel. There is somewhat of a webbing inside of the slide on the back section, so you can kind of see that right here. If I can kind of sort of paint this for you. So over in here, we have to make sure that we cut in far enough in order to bypass that. Now we won't really have that issue because that only comes to about here on the slide. So if you were to look at the slide, that webbing is about here, and then it opens up there. So we do have some minor webbing, but nothing like that. So these are all the little things that you have to kind of sort of look at when you get into what are we doing and how are we doing it. Guys, let's jump over to the CNC machine. Let's do our best to process this. I'm going to bring it back. There is some additional work that was requested from the customer. So we may have some additional work that we're reviewing in the end, or we may have skipped it all together. I don't want to take you guys through something that we may or may not be doing. I do want to discuss something that we did do if we added extra work to the process. So you may see some additional work in the video, or we may just do what we talked about right here. Either way, I'll keep you guys updated on that. And as we come back, we'll review and we'll see exactly how this comes out. Alright guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out now that we have completed the cut work and added some coloring back to the slide. Now let's not be confused. We started with a black slide, we moved into a red slide, and now we're with a sniper gray slide. I'm going to explain that just in greater detail here in a moment. Guys, Raptor cuts, single top window with the chamfer. It's a real nice open design if you're planning on either upgrading and or changing the color, the design of your barrel. It's going to give you that opportunity to see the barrel a little bit better. I really do like it. We are also receiving weight reduction by removing material from the slide, and we're not compromising anything to do with the functionality of the weapon. So nothing's going to change as far as the recoil springs. Nothing's really going to feel any different as far as the actual felt recoil when being used. So opportunity to obviously change that, and not a big cost that we're giving over as far as any sacrifice against the weapon's functionality. So real nice there. Guys, let's backtrack here just one moment. I want to talk to you about the red slide. So at the beginning of this video, we did discuss the Raptor cuts. We discussed that there is a possibility there may be some additional work being done on the slide, and that we would go through that if we ended up doing that. So we first started with the Raptor cuts, and that's when you saw the black slide on the CNC machine. Went ahead and cut those out. What we ended up doing was we needed to take the slide off the machine and kind of look it over and decide if we wanted to add a top window, as that was one of the requests by the owner of the slide. When we had it off the CNC machine, we thought, why don't we end up just coloring it? Because one, we do offer this in several different configurations on the web page. So that's kind of the first and foremost, is that you can get what you want. So I want just the Raptor cuts. We're going to process it that way. I want to add the window. That's obviously another option. We do also offer a Cobra nose, so you can do a C nose here. So I wanted to show the slide complete without the top window versus with the top window, to kind of give you the visualization of what you're ordering and how it would look based off of the configuration you choose during checkout. That was number one. So we kind of wanted to show the difference between no window versus window. The other thing is, this was a new color to us, and this was Stoplight Red C143 by Cerakote. So this was the first time we had an opportunity to spray that color. It's an interesting color, no doubt. I don't know if this is going to be a color that we stock, that we carry, but it is one of those opportunities that you can always add a color to your order. If it's something that we don't happen to stock and you do like a color that we don't carry, we can charge you for a bottle. We can get that shipped in. You don't need to order a bottle and send it to us. We will just bill you for that, and then we can get it added into the order and get the color that you want. So I thought it was an opportunity, number two, to see the color as well. Guys, one of the things that I want to say about this is we've got a lot of different stuff coming out as far as what we're working on. We've got a couple other ideas that I could see us doing on the PDP, so you're going to want to hang tight as far as like staying with the channel, following along over the next couple of months, because we're going to see a lot of different stuff come out. A lot of that content is turned out on our Instagram. Everything that goes on our Instagram is also transposed or kind of posted over onto our Facebook. They're kind of just a mirror image of each other, so there's an opportunity there if you're on one platform but you're not on the other. One of the other things I would encourage you to do is like the video if you like it, leave a comment if you happen to have something that you want to say about it, and if you don't have a YouTube account and you're just not signed up on there, but you do have an Instagram or you do have a Facebook, feel free to go over there and leave a comment. Usually the slide will get posted over on one of those before it comes onto YouTube, because it takes us a little bit longer to do the YouTube content than it does just to post a picture on Instagram and, of course, have it end up on Facebook. One of the other comments that I want to make on this is very challenging as far as adding the Raptor cuts and making them flow correctly onto the sides. We did go over that advanced work at the beginning of the video to explain it a little bit more. Now that we've done that, I would definitely say that there's an opportunity for additional work. I could see maybe something like the top wave, maybe even the ray. We've got a new one coming out called the flex, which is going to be one of our next videos that we're going to be coming out here pretty soon. So we've got another design coming out as well. Those are all things that I think are very similar to the Raptor cut. They flow similar in fashion, but yet they are different where they've got cross pieces that go across the top. I could also see us just doing a single top window, right? So there are some other PDP services that I'm assuming are going to surface as customers decide to get a little more adventurous and they want to have some additional things done. So I could definitely see that. I'm not ruling out side windows. I'm not ruling out different style Cobra noses or anything like that. But right now we're going to stick with the basics and what we continuously see on all of our platforms, which is usually like Ray, Raptor, Wave, Window, Cobra nose. Those are usually designs that would almost flow on each and every weapon. Hive is probably another one. So guys, follow along. If you happen to have any comments or concerns about anything, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.